Well, hello everybody. How are you? I'm here. At least I think I'm here. You never know. Are we really here? Or are we over there? It's how fast things happen, too. That was yesterday. One of Trump was a redo on that correspondence dinner last night. About 1,000 people less. I don't think it matters much. The ones that were there weren't supporting Trump that much. They were there supporting the free speech, and I think there's another amendment that goes along with them. But anyhow, they weren't being totally nasty to him. They should have been. He just opened up with jokes, and they weren't funny. They were absolutely not funny. I mean, they were horrible. Even he knew they were horrible. Whoever wrote them's gone. The other thing was that he tried to turn it into a campaign rally. You're still wearing hats that say 2028, and people are thinking he's going to, there's no way he's going to run. There's no way he'll live that long. Okay? He's such a nasty person and a bad president that if he was decided to try to change the Constitution so that he could run, they'd shoot him. Because the Republicans know he can't win. I got all these little things all over my... All right. So they know he can't. See, it's live, folks. What can I tell you? You're telling you he can't win. I don't think J.D. Vance can win an honest election either. If he wins, I'm gonna tell you right now, the election's not honest. And it probably won't be if we have an election. Nicaragua just stood up and said there will be no more elections. Ortega just said that, if you haven't seen. He says there'll be no more elections. They're not necessary. I'm here for the rest of my life. So the only way, under that country's constitution, the only way that they can change governments is by revolution. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. If there is a revolution, that should give Trump something to think about. When he tries to change the Constitution. But he's not at the big thing that came out of that. He's just not a funny guy. His administration, it has to go, it has to be changed. There are more people, they're going to be the highest turnover in the administration in history at the rate he's going, which I'm surprised because I thought he got the highest rate when he was in his first term, when he fired everybody and got pissed off if you looked at him wrong and stuff like that, but you never know, so now they're saying this is the highest turnover in history for an administration. But I don't know whether they're talking about the people he fired out of various organizations and departments that he's revamped and everything so that they all know how to kiss his ass, That's how you get interviewed. You come into the office and you have to bend over, push your lips, and if he likes it, if not, then you got to go back and practice more. And he smells like crap, I understand. He's back to that stinky smell again, shit. They haven't found a good deodorant that kills that. He should spray himself with Lysol. So he smells like a hospital. So what? That's been what he smells like, according to what we're hearing. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't been in his presence, and I have no intention of being in his presence. So You know. Yeah, here's another thing. Headsworth was criticized because his casualty and injured totals from the war in Iran are wrong. And he said, I'll take care of it. And he didn't. And they're still wrong. They haven't been changed back to what they're supposed to be. So you don't know how bad that war is going for us, which is, you have to, you know, go to these hearings and listen to what they tell you in the hearings because they're not publicized anywhere. I think that's disgusting. Americans have a right to know how their children's lives are being wasted, you know? And you say, then, well, you know, what makes you think of it? Because this is a war that's slowly bankrupting the Defense Department. It's a war that it's been supposedly won 5 or 6 times already, according to both Trump and Hegseth. Yet it's still going on. It's one of these wars that's going to be like Afghanistan or Vietnam. You know, Vietnam was the first one I remembered that went on for years and really didn't have a clear ending, and we were basically defeated. We were kicked out of Vietnam. We didn't get. I don't think we got anything for it. You know, we left tons of military equipment there. You know, just I don't know, crazy shit. War. That's the song. You know, War by oh God, I can't remember the name of the group or person. And it's, you know, it goes, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And that's the truth, people. That is the truth. War is good for nothing right now. We're not freeing anybody. We're not doing anything. We're not accomplishing anything except killing people. And that's one way to keep the population under control. But, you know, Trump is just an idiot. And that's the scary part about it. He's an idiot. He hasn't got a clue what's going on. When you listen to him, he doesn't know. You know, he's up there reading jokes that aren't funny. He knows they aren't funny, and he keeps reading it. And even when he tries to make fun of the fact that they're not funny, it's not funny. You know, he's not a... People, you got to read The Art of the Deal or something like that to see just how bad he is right now. You know, how far off track he is from the man everybody thought he was. You know? Do that, and maybe we can get someplace in this country, you know? Maybe we can make some serious changes and get some things going in the right direction. But I'm not real sure that's going to happen. What else do I have here? Yeah, I don't know. I just talk a little bit about what I read, you know, and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, my opinion of this is that they're saying that not democracy. I'm having a mental issue right now. That capitalism isn't working. Well, I don't know whether it is or it isn't because I don't really understand everything about it, and I would be a fool to say I did. But if you want to go to socialist, you know, the free Medicare and everything, and free hospitalization and all that stuff, and that you know, socialization says that, you know, uh, Democrats, socialists want. I don't see that as being bad. I see that as a good thing if we can finance it. But we're so far in debt right now because of Trump. Where are you going to get $3 trillion or whatever it is we owe to pay off that debt? You know? Because some of these countries are going to start wanting their money back. You know? Especially if we keep screwing with them. Which means we're going to be at war. Over one of the most common, the war that our husbands and wives fight over, money. You know, money when it's used properly, when it's controlled, and it is a very good thing because we need it to pay for stuff and whatnot. It's nice to have when you're in control of the money. But when money's in control of you, and I see this with rich people. Somebody asked me this yesterday. Who asked me this yesterday? How much money is enough? Idea. I have enough. If I can't pay my bills, fuck it. But I'm not going to kill myself to make more. That's the way I've been lived my whole life. I have enough and a little extra to do what I want to do. That's not, from socialization or whatever. Take a girl out to go out to dinner or whatever. Have lunch sent to me. Those are things that I understand. Mm. And I support, and I think that's a great way to live your life. Now, I've got Bezos and Musk. And how much more money does Musk need? Musk got a point where he could spend $1 billion a day for the rest of his life and not go broke because of the interest $1 trillion is making him. And people can't conceive that. People don't understand that. He can do whatever he wants, buy whatever he wants without financing it. You know? People can't fathom that. That doesn't quite register right. But why does he want more money? Well, I mean, some of the stuff that he does, he has to keep doing just to maintain, uh, because you can lose everything very easily. It doesn't take a lot to lose everything. But he's not, I just don't understand. Oh, okay. I don't understand the situation, I guess, in a world where you have Bezos and uh, the asshole from Facebook and everything. You got all these people with all this money. You got all the people that don't have money. And the disparity between the two is horrendous now. But I'm not asking them to give them money. I don't think that's right either. Just to hand out their money to other people. But they need to be creative for work opportunities and whatnot for people. And they're not. They're all right now, they're spending their money on AI so that they don't have to hire people. So that robotics and artificial intelligence they don't need employees. They don't need humans. They don't like other people. That's the problem. They just sit there and spend money. Well, good luck to them. I hope Bezos' wife divorces him and takes him for every penny he's got. I hope Musk comes down with a venereal disease that's incurable. It doesn't have to be fatal, just pain in his balls. You know what I'm saying? And that's me. That's just my opinion on this stuff. So what else? Oh, there was another headline. LeBron James is going to play for Philly. Now, that's not going to turn Philadelphia into a winning team because LeBron James is past his peak and he shouldn't continue looking to play. And I guess he's looking at what he wants to do. He's trying to play with his sons or something, or against his sons. And his sons aren't that good, apparently. I don't know. I haven't really paid that much attention to it because I don't get enough games down here anymore. But besides that, I'm a Knicks fan. But he's going to play for the Philadelphia Warriors, or 76ers, I'm sorry. Who used to be the Warriors? St. Louis? I think it's St. Louis. Anyhow, they, oh no, Golden State's the Warriors. But anyhow, What was I saying? Oh, it's just not that big a deal because what does he represent besides people coming to want to see him and try to get his autograph? Which he charges for, which is his right. But for him to, he's not going to be the savior for the 76ers. You know, he's not the same player, and that's it's like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan probably stayed a year or two longer than he should have too. People these guys don't want to get out. They don't want to get away from it. It's their lives. Uh, you know, I'm not sure if you take you want to rate the players. They probably rate LeBron better than Jordan. But one of the best players I ever saw was Bob Cousy. And I've seen a lot of the greats, a lot of the players that are in the Hall of Fame. And until you see them and you know the game, how the game was played back then, and where defense was a big part of the game, and you didn't have the 3-point shot. That 3-point shot is only there to make the game more interesting for the fans. It's not there for any other reason. It's strictly a moneymaker. It's got nothing to do with nothing. It's not good. I don't think it's good for the sport. I think that and the fact that they don't enforce the rules. You watch guys, they're carrying the ball up and down the court half the time, and that's not the way the game is played. That's not the original Naismith rules and whatnot. Even if you modify them for age and whatnot, it's still not right. The game isn't played the same way. So it's hard for me to judge what I saw. The Bill Bradleys, the Dave DeBuschers, the um, Pistol Pete Marriages, and Elgin Baylor, and all the old guys, and bring them in and put them up against the new guys, the guys that are playing today. They have better training facilities, so they're all different types of athletes. They're trained differently. Uh, they're probably better conditioned athletes. But are they better? Could they play? Could they play a game? You know, is there anybody that could have guarded Bob Cousy? Is there anybody that could have guarded Elgin Baylor? I'm not sure there are players out there today that can do that. Jordan might. Jordan knew how to play defense. I really haven't seen that much of LeBron to know if he's a very good defensive player. Plus the fact these guys get pressured, in defense, and they back up and they take a 3-point shot. And then you're playing zone defense again. It's just not the same game to me, and I'm really, I watch it once. I watch the Knicks because the Knicks are my team, but I don't, watch a lot of basketball anymore. I'm a big football fan, and and right now with the gambling situation the way it is, and they're sponsoring the team and the leagues and everything like that, I don't know how much longer I'll be watching football. So, I got to pay a lot of money in a week to be able to watch football. So we'll see what's going on. In the meantime, folks, take care. Have a great day. I'm not here tomorrow. I get to sleep late. Doubt it. I got to go shopping tomorrow because they won't do it till Saturday. I can't do a fucking thing on Saturday when I want to do it. I have to do it on Sunday when I have absolutely nothing to do, and I have family here, and then I can't do anything that I want to do. So that's just I may take a day off next week because I need to do some things and I just don't have the time to do them. And you say, oh, you got all day? No, I don't. Lucy hasn't been feeling well, so I've been taking care of her, spending time with her. Uh, I go out for a walk. I talk to my friends. I saw two friends. I saw one of my friends that I haven't seen, Venezuelan, that I haven't seen since the earthquakes, and I'm glad to see he's all right. He's back to work. He's got a lot of work and everything because none of the dog walkers are around. A lot of them are back in Venezuela with their families, or they've lost family. You know what I'm saying? He said his roommate lost his brother and his mother. I can't deal with this anymore. That was just a horrible thing that happened, and they're still suffering down there, and they're still finding bodies down there because they don't have the technology, the money, or the equipment and nobody's talking about it. Maybe we'll do that on Monday. We'll talk a little bit about it. I'll see what I can find out. In the meantime, folks, have a great day. Take your depression drugs, and everything like that. What is it, Xanax or something? When you before after you watch me, you have to kind of do something. All right, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Monday. Take care.